Um, I just want to make sure that everybody here understands that this is 2010. Almost everything I hear about is based on last year's team. Last year's team did a fantastic job in winning a national championship and having 22 graduates in the national championship game, and 13 guys signing NFL contracts, and probably this year's team lifted some self-imposed limitations by understanding what it takes to be successful at a very high level relative to their experience on that team. But other than that, we have the challenges of the future, and we are not looking in the rearview mirror, but we're looking out the forward windows of what's happening now with our team and what our team needs to do to create individual success. You know, you really can't defend a national championship. You know, it's a part of history. What you need to do is focus on what you need to do and going through the process of what you need to do to win and be successful with the group of players that you have now that are coming back this year. That's what we're focusing on, and I think for players to make the right decisions about their commitment, the right decisions about their work ethic, the right decisions about all the things that they need to do to play their very best individually, as well as the team chemistry, the positive energy, the responsibility and accountability to execute on a consistent basis, and the hard work that it takes to get there are all things that our players need to be focusing on relative to what they can accomplish this year. You know, we want to be one of those teams that nobody wants to play because of the physical toughness, the effort, the relentless competitive spirit that we have, and that'll be a real challenge for each and every team, but this team especially, hopefully will do the things they need to do to become one of those types of teams.
How concerning is this player-agent issue and inappropriate activity with college athletes?
Well, I was pretty outspoken about it, you know, yesterday, and I think there's probably, you know, three areas that we should look at. You know, first of all, as institutions, we all have a responsibility to educate our athletes to make good choices and decisions about what they do relative to agents. And we have an excellent agent education program in the SEC as well as at the University of Alabama, and I think have done the best job ever, you know, with our players relative to that. I think there's also a responsibility on the player, you know, to make good choices and decisions about what they do with agents, which is sometimes very difficult for an institution to control. But I think the third part of it is the NFLPA, the NFL itself, needs to do something to police the agents who break the rules relative to their profession in doing things that are illegal to recruit student athletes. And I think if these guys were suspended for a year and couldn't collect fees because of their suspension and not having a license, I don't think you'd see any of this stuff happening. And we can all work our tail off at all these other things, but until that part of it gets controlled, because it's almost entrapment what they do to these young people. So.
Is Marcel the only Alabama player that you're looking into in this particular tournament?
Yes.
You talk about the opportunity that are out there for you guys in the secondary, replacing the four starters. Any players?
Well, it's a real challenge for us. You know, we have a lot of players to replace. We do have 8 starters coming back on offense, but we have to replace 8 starters on defense. All the guys in the secondary except for Mark Barron. You know, a couple linebackers, a couple guys up front. So it's going to be a real challenge, especially in the secondary, because we're going to be very young and not have a lot of experienced players to blend in with those young players. Now we have some, you know, talented players, but the challenge is are they going to be able to gain the knowledge and experience that they need to play with consistency that's going to be good enough for us to be successful and not give up a lot of big plays in the secondary. And I'm excited about working with this group. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think this is a group that will get better as the season goes on, and I think our defense will probably get better as the season goes on.
Are you getting a chance to talk to Marcel about the situation?
Sure. I talked to him about it.
Whether or not he paid for his trip.
I am really not going to make any comments about this. All right, this is an investigation, and if you want to find out anything about the investigation, don't have the privileged information to give you that information about our players, and I think our compliance people would be the people that would give it to you. So if you want to call them, you can call them. They're the ones that are responsible for the investigation and talking to the players, and I'm not going to make any comments about, Marcel Darius. But I don't think it's right for us to all assume that he did something wrong. I think he's being investigated for a circumstance, and, this investigation will determine whether he did or didn't do anything wrong.
If these players could be put in dorms, would that help at all? The university maybe in this situation, if the NFLPA or those guys don't do anything.
What would a dorm do? Are we supposed to keep them in a dorm on the 4th of July? Are we supposed to keep them in a dorm on Memorial Day weekend? Our players are off the month of May. We want to sequester them and put them in jail while they're off? Or do we just do the things that are right things to do relative to, if everybody did what they were supposed to do, if the agents followed their rules? What you all don't understand is the good agents don't do this stuff. And they're penalized because of people in their profession who don't abide by the rules of their profession. There's not an agent that ever should even talk to a player until he's been 3 years out of school. That's a rule. All right, so if somebody talked to Marcel Darius, which I don't know if they did or didn't, but if they did, they violated their own rules. So this is not a matter of sequestering the players. It's a matter of who should be more responsible, a 20-year-old player or a 40-year-old man who's supposed to be a professional. And if they'd quit acting like pimps and act like professionals, we wouldn't have this problem. So it's not the players' issue. The players are being entrapped by all this stuff.
The idea that you just said about the NFL Players Association getting involved and suspending agents that are found guilty, is that just your opinion, or is it something that was actually brought the NFL to get involved with?
Oh, it's my opinion, but I'm going to bring it to the NFL and the NFL Players Association.
Do you know if it's something that they've considered yet?
I do not. But they should do it for their own good. It's affecting their league too. We develop players for them, do we not? Almost every player that plays in the NFL played college football someplace. So why wouldn't they respect the rules of college football? And every guy that becomes ineligible is a guy that's not developing as a football player for them. And it's hurting the players too. Because if they don't participate, they don't have as good a chance to develop, and they don't get drafted as high, they don't make as much money, and everybody questions their character. But you really need to question the character on both sides. And why a player? Here's the real kicker for me, and this is what I tell our players all the time. Here's a guy that is breaking the rules to recruit you, to represent you. If he has that kind of character, why do you think you could trust him? And why would he not break the rules when he's representing you and your money? How hard is that to figure out? Because it's who you are. And if you're not a good person, you're probably not a good person, period.